Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Papa Bale and welcome to my channel. We're currently discussing pulse motor flex. This is a completed version of pulse motor flex. I put the core and new magnet, electromagnet in there. This is a generator coil, so I changed out that coil with this coil right here. But I'm starting to notice that even with these cores in here, this size right here, it generates more and it has more RPMs per watt of production of electricity. So I'm gonna make a whole new barrage of coils. The only problem is I am not buying a core that's that fat. I'm not doing that. So it'll be without core. That's going to be my next one. They're all going to be coils like that. I might actually do something like this so that I get 18. And those magnets have enough reach, have enough distance to them that both coils will be affected. Just this one in the back will be affected a little bit less than the one right up next to it. You hook that all up in a series circuit. Now there's two ways you're going to be able to do that circuit. You go front to back and then move to the next one, or you just move to the next one. You go front and then move to the next front, to the next front, and you go around all the way to here, and you go to the second one to the second one, like a spiral. It can either be a spiral or it can go 1 2 1 2, but that's pretty much it. And I think the spiral version is going to be the better bet. It makes sense, man. Makes a lot of sense. And then I think if it's like that, it's got to actually be spinning a certain way to get positive voltage. I'm not sure about that. We'll have to see. But this is pulse motor flex. And the only reason I mentioned all that was because when this coil was on, it was actually stronger than that coil with the magnet in it. Now that coil is pretty special. It's actually a neodymium cylinder magnet in it. And it's designed to replicate having an iron rod in there. So these are attracting right now. The core in there and this magnet are attracting, and it works out to be about the same for the most part as having the smaller coil in there. So let's give a small demonstration. Well, actually, let me explain this. What you have here, you have 6 coils of this size with iron cores in them. I think one is like a steel core of some kind, or a chrome core, because it doesn't rust. It hasn't rusted at all. These are iron. You can tell they're iron because they got a residue rust on them, and they came with rust-free oil on them already, so that has worn off, of course. So basically you got 6 coils that are this size, with or without cores. Okay, the cores are not necessary. I'm beginning to find that out, because it's like the closer you get to the core, to the rotor, which will give you more power and everything. It's such a happy balance that you can't do it rudimentary style. You need so much more than what I have to give right now. to get those any closer than they are right now. You get what I'm saying? Alright, cool. Alright, so you got the 6 coils, and these are generator coils, okay? So these are all hooked together in a row. They're hooked together in a row like such. And you got your one side right here. You got your other side right there. Okay? And you got your drive circuit. Starts right here, the power supply. It gets hooked to the transformer. Follow the blue wire. It's connected right there to the first drive coil. And the next drive coil is connected, this blue one, or it's like a teal, but who's counting? To the 4-filer coil, which is virtually 4 of these wrapped up in the same coil. Okay? And you got 4 wires for each 4-filer coil. You follow the lead over here, 4-filer coil. Then that 4-filer coil is connected to the reed switch, I believe. Yes, right here, reed switch. Okay, the reed switch, put it on the end of your drive circuit, not the front, not in the middle. You want it to go through all the coils and then hit the reed switch, or you'll be blowing switches. If you got the power going straight into the reed switch first, you're gonna need to filter it out a little bit so it's manageable. Because this transformer here is pumping out 135, 140 volts, and this won't go above 10 to 12 volts. That's all it needs to kick that on. Alright, so you got your drive coil. I'm going to turn on the power to 10.5, I guess. Alright, and then we're going to turn it this way, I think. Nope. That way. $240. Oh man. Okay, we're gonna cut that back. See, there's like little humps that you can hear. Like you can hear it. That's where everything like starts rattling. Now, you see how it was going really fast? I could have flipped the switch. That would have made it go really slow. But we'd probably be pumping 70 volts and the light, so that's cool. There's like one more thing I wanted to express here. I can't figure out what it was. Alright, well, I guess that's going to do it. Oh, yeah. We're going to take the rotor off. Let me show you what's underneath here. Alright, there it is. What we have here is a stack of bearings. But look at the flange down there on the bottom. We can just zoom in a little bit. Okay, it's got 4 screws in it. It's probably glued down somehow. And it's still starting to like wobble significantly. I think it's because of the cords. I'm going to take one of these off of here. And we're going to put it back on. And we're going to see if we can't get just a little bit more speed out of this. Okay, and the interesting part about this, this is what I was going to explain. 9 equally spaced magnets. Allows for you got your first delta, which is the drive coils, not the shaft, coils. That's 120 degree circuit. Okay, and then same here. Move it over 40 degrees. Boom. 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 Move it over 40 degrees and boom. 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 3 perfectly 120 degree circuits. Now, I think there's only one way to make that work. I don't know what it is, but it's got to be a north and south thing because I've tried everything else. It's got to be a north-south configuration. But it's the electromagnets are the things that have to be opposite. So it'll be like north, south, north as it goes through the circuit. Especially if you're trying, put all the circuits together through a capacitor or a bridge, a MOSFET switch. So, it's got a pulse too. It's got to have a pulse. Might as well have a reed switch in here because our electro induction magnet switch. And that thing has been there for years now. It's not going anywhere. I successfully made a generator using fans from an from a PC that were RBG fans, and it was pretty neat. It didn't generate much. It generated like 20 volts of DC electricity. And I had like 4 fans in the middle of a configuration. So I had like a bolt sticking up, like an 8-inch bolt sticking up at the corners, and I had 4 fans in the middle, and I had a fan on each side of the square on the outside as well. So that it was coming at the wire that was wrapped around the bolts from both sides. But there was a lot of space there too, and they were like pretty close to 1,000 RPMs. It was sickly fast, dude. It was, and there wasn't even a guard. You had to put the guard on yourself, so that was actually pretty good. And it worked. It generated electricity. You want to know what else generated electricity? I'm going to get it real quick. You're probably going to laugh. This thing generates electricity. Not anymore, though. And I'll tell you why. Because the core that's in that coil right there, it was big enough, small enough to fit in the tube. And then I had a ring that could fit on the outside of the tube, and I would just, move the ring back and forth, and the magnet in the middle and the ring on the outside would generate electricity. Because it was north and south, the simplest north and south that you can do, just back and forth. And it would, we were doing microvolts, but look, it's like 1 millimeter wire too. I got up to a volt. It was like 20 volts. I don't remember actually, but it was pretty, I was impressed. Very cool. This thing generates voltage. It's an acrylic tube. And that's probably why it only generated that much, is because it's got acrylic. So like if I did it with a copper pipe, or even like a steel pipe with the copper wrapped around it, that would have been better. But I have a friend, I think he still works at the copper shop. I'm going to have him make me maybe a copper tubing, either that thick or thinner. That'll be awesome. Alright, so I'm going to put the rotor back on, minus that one bearing, and we're going to see if that helps out any. Alright, so I have a feeling that it's going to run a lot better, but we've got one of these wooden pedestals that is now too high, and one of the magnets brushes up against it. So we got to deal with that. How are we gonna? Well, we got to make a new one. That's what it's got to be, and it's the one that's got that chrome core in it, or steel core. It looks like aluminum, but it is magnetic. So yeah, we got to take that whole thing out and make a new one that's a little shorter. Or maybe the same size, because you can see that there's that build-up underneath it. But I gotta go get more shims. So with that being said, peace out. Have a good night. Please subscribe. Amen.